Conference will now be recorded.
So, good, well, it's not morning here anymore, so good afternoon or good evening to wherever you might be. This is the second meeting of our AnCan prostate cancer European group, and we welcome people back and one newbie. We love newbies. We're very happy, and we'll give Jeff some priority here. Not much else to say. It's a small group right now, but of course you never know who's going to drop in. Last month we had 17 people, which was pretty good. What I'm going to do is just go around everybody and just see who'd like to take some time in the meeting, and then we'll come back to you, Jeff, and give you priority, and we will ask you a few questions, and so we have a history about you, and go from there. Jeff, we know. Gail, anything you'd like to bring up this
Not today.
meeting? No? Okay.
Not unless anyone knows a good dermatologist in France. So that's today's problem.
Yeah. You know, the problem, just to go back to your discussion before we turned on the recording, the problem is, as much as you're frustrated with the French system, where are you going to go? You know? Yeah, you can go to England and you can wait 2 years for your dermatologist. You know, you'll get the dermatology, but you've got to wait 2 years for it. Germany? You're going to come here?
In fact,
Australia? Where are you going to go?
Yeah, I'm going to Australia in August. So after we finish here, I'm going to wait up until midnight and call Australia. You know, there are a lot more dermatologists in Australia. In France, they only want to do cosmetic work now. But yeah, I'm going to Australia.
Okay. Dino,
anything for you? Okay? Oh, sorry, I was just going to say, is your husband okay, Gail? I think he was off golfing last time. Is he?
Yeah, this time he's in the bar celebrating St. Patrick's, I think. He'll come bouncing in here any minute. I might get him to stay.
Hey.
But yeah, we had a meeting last night with his 3 monthly review with the oncologist who was there. So that was something good. And
here's what we're going to do. We're going to come back to you for an update on your husband, okay? Even though you don't want time. So I'm putting in a tick right now. Dino, would you like some time?
Yes.
Okay. Graham, would you like some time to talk today?
Yeah.
Okay, you got it. Neil, would you like some time, sir?
Yes, small bit.
Okay, so we've got, everybody's going to get some time, but we're going to start with Jeff. And Jeff, what we usually do, we're sort of, well, we do it in all our groups. But since I'm moderating this one, I'm going to follow the pattern that we use in our advanced, high-risk recurrent advanced group. And I'm going to go down a sort of list of questions. If you can sort of stick to them, and then we can get through pretty quickly your background, and then we can go from there. First thing is, how did you find out about this group?
I participate on several forums. One of them was Mayo Connect. I think Dino does as well. And on the group is often discussed on Mayo Connect.
Okay. And do we have your email address, or if not, would you put it in the chat, because we send out a reminder for this group?
You have it, and I do receive those.
Oh, okay. Then we're great. Perfect. How old are you, sir?
I'm 67.
Okay. And you live, I'm just going to say, I'm going to put Stuttgart for, it's probably easier.
Yeah, it's easier.
And when were you first diagnosed?
I was first diagnosed in 23.
Okay. And at the time you were diagnosed, what was your Gleason score and your PSA level?
It was Gleason score was first diagnosed as a 7, and the PSA was 5.9.
And was your 7 a 3+4 or a 4+3?
4+3.
Okay. And where were you first treated?
I was first treated, I was doing by region. I was in California at University of California, San Francisco,
Oh,
and then also at in a clinic in Stuttgart.
great. Who did you see at UCSF?
Pardon? Can you say
Who
again?
did you see at UCSF?
A team of people, actually. You name the group, and I've talked to most of them. So it wasn't one specific doctor. I'd started with actually I don't remember who I started with. I wound up talking to 4 different doctors at UCSF because I went through my treatments have been surgery, radiation, and immunotherapy. So in that gamut, I've
Okay.
talked to most of
So,
them.
with the surgeons, was it Cooperberg you spoke to, or
Yeah.
It was Cooperberg?
Yeah.
And do you recall which medical oncologist you spoke to?
I didn't at UCSF. By the
But you
time
didn't.
by the time oncologist, I was spending most of my time in Stuttgart. So wound
Okay.
up.
Okay. Well, yeah, I know UCSF very well, partially because I got half my treatment there, partially because that's where I started doing my advocacy work, and we have a great relationship with Peter Carroll and with Rahul Agarwal, and a god awful relationship with Eric Small, which goes back to my years of advocacy.
Wow.
I don't see eye to eye on a lot of things, but anyway, I mean, he's a great doctor. Yeah, he's president of ASCO, but he's not one of my favorites.
I can understand why.
But there are other doctors there who I really who are just fabulous. And Mac Roach is my own doctor.
Yeah, I was working in the Bay Area, so it was the first place I found that was a center of excellence, and
Right.
my urologist recommended that I go there.
And then it won't mean that much to me, but it will to Dino. Who do you see in the Stuttgart area?
For immunotherapy, I have a group that I see, but Dino is already connected with Heidelberg and other places. So I wasn't at Heidelberg. I was at Tübingen and Freiburg, mostly. Okay. I also did the 2 main hospitals in Stuttgart city itself, Dino, but I'm actually more of a fan of the Heidelberg for oncologists. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, Heidelberg was the go-to because I could get in really fast. I've asked around anywhere between Karlsruhe, here also locally in Heilbronn, Stuttgart, and then the ones, especially in the beginning when I first got diagnosed and I wanted to get all my scans done, the PSMA and everything, and they got me in the biopsy. I also did at Heidelberg.
Yeah, Heidelberg has not just in the prostate cancer group, but they actually have 2 of the leading researchers on oncology.
Right, actually, the headquarters of the German cancer research center is there in their campus.
Yeah, you're at the right place.
Yeah.
Rick, are you still online?
That could be a no.
Okay. He did say he had some issues with his connection, but
I am back. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, but Dino, just so that to add some more color to that, in the most of the oncologists that I've seen in Germany most of them, when it comes to prostate cancer, refer either to Heidelberg or to Munich, a clinic in Munich, or to
Right.
Charité in Berlin.
Charité,
So I've been
yeah,
to Charité in Berlin, and I've been to Munich. But actually, I found a better connection with Heidelberg, actually, and more
Right.
broader connections.
Okay, well, we're waiting for Rick to get back online. Yeah, for me, because I'm going to talk more about it a little bit later when it's my turn. I'm heading over to Hamburg next week for my surgery at the Martini Clinic. It's the private clinic up there, because they're the only one that said that they'll attempt nerve sparring. Everybody else I spoke with, they were like, nope, we're just gonna chop everything out, and it is what it is. And I said, okay, I'll take my chance.
The two of the professors at Martini Clinic, for context, each actually teach most of the other prostatectomy surgeons in Germany, and two of them actually often go to the USA for teaching.
Yeah.
So
I know that. I mean, I was there last a couple weeks ago. I was there for a pre-surgery, about a month ago actually, and they do have like 15 professors on staff.
They're all professors then.
Yeah. Hey Rick, you're back online.
Yeah, what differentiates them, just for those, is there's Martini Clinic also is pioneering, or many clinics have the single arm Da Vinci machine, but the one of the professors at Martini Clinic is actually considered one of the best by Da Vinci itself. So they fly him around all over the place to teach.
Yeah, I don't know exactly who's going to do the surgery on me, but we'll see.
I think you guys in Germany, I mean, none of us are lucky, obviously, because we don't want to be here. But you guys in Germany are really lucky, in as much as your treatment and the professors, the oncologists are so far ahead of pretty much everywhere. Maybe bar the odd guy in the States. You guys are so far ahead. You know, I know that I will have to, if I can afford it, come over to Germany for treatment. And actually, Heidelberg is really strongly recommended. But I am advanced prostate cancer, so it's a different ball game. But Heidelberg is like, I can't remember the name of the guy off the top of my head. There's a professor there who really pushed the lutetium and Pluvicto.
Right.
And that's where he is. And you guys have been doing it since 2016 in Germany. And it's like just in clinical trial now in the UK, basically, or at the odd private hospital. But the guys have got no experience. You know, your guys have been literally 8-9 years further advanced in terms of experience, treatment. So, you know, I feel, you know, I'm pleased that, you're in Germany, really. It's the one country seriously, it's the country you'd most want to, particularly in Europe, it's the country you'd want to get this, cursed.
I am glad that this image is very much out there. I've only been in Germany for, been 9 years already. But I did come here to Germany with a lot of preconceptions. And I hit myself against the bureaucracy here coming from US, and I was like, what? And there are, just like Gail said, in France, even here, sometimes it's hard to get appointments. And maybe, I mean, the hospitals like the Heidelberg is I've been there several times. And they have nice facilities there. I've been also here in my hospital in Heilbronn, which is recently, like last year, they just finished building a new wing. And they also have here the Da Vinci here in Heilbronn, the multi-port, which I was like, hey, okay. But, I was like, I decided to go to Martini Clinic, like I said, because they're the only one that said that they will attempt nerve sparring. And I will pay. It's a private clinic, Martini Clinic up in Hamburg. It's a private clinic. Here in Heilbronn, the professor that runs the urology clinic said that he's gonna. It was gonna be covered by insurance. I would not have to pay anything out of pocket. But in Hamburg, I'll pay 2,000 euros. And I'll stay there in the hospital for a week. So everything will be covered, surgery and inpatient, food, lodging. They did offer me. They said, "Oh, you're gonna be put in a 2-man room, but if you wanna get a private room, you get to pay 150 euros extra per night." I was like, "No, it's okay. I'll hang out with some guy. Maybe I have something to talk about in the evening instead of just going crazy by myself in the room, especially after the surgery."
Did any of you have any of you people have HBOT?
No.
Hyperbaric oxygen treatment? No.
No.
Or do you know? Do you know anybody that's had that?
Not that I know.
I'm starting that next week for the burning sensation I've had since I'd had my radiation, stroke, ADT, brachytherapy, and that's what was recommended the last time we had this session a month ago. I spoke to my consultant, and he said, "Oh yeah, give that a go." Like, he never recommended it or even said it, so I'm just going ahead with that.
Okay.
Whereabouts, nearly? Which country?
In Dublin, Ireland.
Oh, right. You can get it there.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Again, I thought that was somewhere you'd have to go to Germany for that treatment. So
no, this is they have a place in Dublin. It's the only recognised medically recognised place there is. It's a proper place. So they reckon about 30-35 sessions. There's no guarantee, but it's about 2 hours, we'll say, in a chamber. It's the 2.4 density equivalent of being, I don't know how many feet underneath the water, obviously. And what it does is we'll say the oxygen is pumped in 100% pure oxygen. The whole idea is to give you new nerve cells from the point of view damage that's been done in lots of different areas. It isn't just for that. It could be an injury, it could be anything. So I'm willing to try that.
We've had a bunch of guys who have done that. Some with success, some without.
Rick, we're hearing you very muffled, like very, very weak as far as like the loudness.
Neil, if Rick, Rick, the audio's not good. Neil, if Rick does come on, this topic, I've seen it posted a few times in the American version of AnCan. So he may be able to at least provide information. I know it's been talked a few times on the American version of AnCan.
Right.
It's posted quite a bit on your clinic too.
You guys hear me or not?
We hear a little louder now, but still muffled, like you're, I don't know.
Yeah, let me dial in again, because I'm hearing you very clearly. It's obviously the connection, but yeah, let me try dialing in again.
Okay.
It's like you're on an underwater telephone, Rick.
In the meantime, I'm going to try my connection.
There we go. You're now loud and clear.
Here, you can probably hear me better now. But unfortunately, this wave, my internet's coming in and out right now. I live in a pretty rural area. That's the problem. But let me go with this. Yeah, Jeff is right. We've talked about this a few times, Neil. Has anybody discussed with you? It's just you should have a heads up about the risk of the cataract risk.
Yeah, I discussed that with them, because in our last session, Rick, you actually mentioned that, and what they said to me is there's a doctor there who, you know, does all the tests, that if you had cataracts, it would bring them on sooner than you were going to get them. That's what he basically said, that it would bring on the cataracts sooner than maybe you would get them if you didn't have that. That was his, but that it wouldn't cause cataracts. That was his answer to that.
I don't know about that. As it so happens, we have a peer MD who recently started coming to our groups, but he's been coming every time. And he is a hyperbaric expert. And what I will do is connect you, Pierre. I can't remember, Dr. Pierre, I can't remember his last name off the top, but it'll come to me. It doesn't matter. I will connect you with Dr. Pierre, and then you can have a chat with him, because you're going to get, you know, straight information from him. Not that you wouldn't in Ireland or wherever you're going, but it might be helpful for you. Okay,
I appreciate that. I'm commencing on Monday, Rick. I'm starting on Monday.
Okay, I'll send him a note. I'll connect you two guys. What's your last name, Neil? So I can look up your email.
O'Reilly.
O'Reilly. Okay. So I'll be sure to connect you. Guys, I'm really sorry about my connection today. I'll dial in again if it goes out. And I love the fact that you guys took this meeting where it's supposed to go. But I do want to complete Jeff's history, if that's okay with you, if for no other reason that we have the notes. So your first treatment was surgery?
Correct.
In Germany?
Yes. Yeah, I did consultation in the US, but I actually had the surgery in Germany.
Okay. Robotic, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Right. And what were the results of that treatment?
I had a recurrence. Well, actually, the results of it were such that they could tell that there was, they could tell that the margin was positive on one side. So I actually knew that my post-surgery PSA would probably show something other than undetectable, and it did. So I wound up having radiation about 4 months after that.
Mm-hmm.
And
what did you do?
I had done radiation therapy in Germany, which originally I actually was going to go to the US to have radiation therapy, but found a clinic that met my needs and did radiation therapy. I decided to go into a trial where I was doing radiation therapy and immunotherapy in parallel.
Mm-hmm.
Decided it could be aggressive, and then that sequence, I did 8 weeks of radiation therapy, and immunotherapy was completed a little bit after that, roughly a year after that, in total about a year. And I've been undetectable since then.
That's great. So let me ask you a couple of questions about that.
Sure.
The IMRT that they did, if they did 40 treatments, no, wait a minute, you said, you said 8 weeks. So if they did 40 treatments, did they go right across your pelvis? Did they cover your whole pelvic area?
No, good question. They just did the pelvic bed.
Really?
Yeah, it was interesting. The thesis of that, knowing its risk, part of it was if it doesn't get it, then they could still do the pelvic bed. It's debate, but it was a shot at it, right? And but a decision was made in consultation with multiple people because of the bet, right, was that I had prostate cancer that had come out of the prostate, but the bet was not that long and that it was still in the bed. So it was, there was just radiated to the bed, and we'll see how that goes later on.
Yeah. Well, at UCSF, that wouldn't have happened, I can tell you.
Agreed.
They would have gone across the pelvic girdle, because you've got Dr. Pelvic Girdle there in the form of Mac Roach. So it wouldn't have happened. But I mean,
in fact,
that's great.
I had a consultation actually with UCS because I knew them, and that's exactly what they advised, the pelvic bed.
I know.
So,
Who did you? Which radiation oncologist did you talk to?
Can you name them? Because
I can, but I may have to pull it up. Well, Mac Roach, of course, is the one that Joe Shu.
Joe. I know I talked to. But, okay.
Yeah.
But I actually talked to radiation oncologist in Sloan Kettering. I talked to UCSF. Okay. I talked to, in Germany, 3 different ones. So, yeah, I knew that. Actually, most of the ones in the U.S. were going for the whole pelvic, for the whole bed, and the ones in Germany varied quite a bit. So I just decided to do effectively, for those that aren't familiar with the term, right where the prostate was, and so.
Good for you.
Quick question, Jeff. Where did you do the IBRT? What hospital?
I actually did it with a clinic in a very small town, but I found in Germany they had the most recent equipment installation, and I was going for the most recent equipment installation. It's actually on the other side of Stuttgart. It's near a town called Sindelfingen, where the Mercedes factory is. Yeah, actually, I do, at least in the greater area where you're at. It's you'll find that when it comes to radiation therapy, even though Germany has great experts in surgery, everything's about surgery in Germany. The radiation is very different. So you really have to hunt.
Even in Heidelberg, because Heidelberg's been at the forefront of trials for years.
We were talking about the fact that Heidelberg, I consider Heidelberg on oncology to be more leading than other clinics in Germany, relatively speaking. I think Munich and Charité in Berlin also are up there. But I consider Heidelberg in this greater area of Germany that Dino and I are to be amongst the best, if not the best, in oncology. In radiation, maybe not.
Interesting. So tell us about the immunotherapy that you did.
Something crazy. I was shopping around I talked to a lot of professors here, and it won't surprise you that some of them wanted me to do Keytruda, and I had already done genetic tests, and I'm not a good candidate for Keytruda, so I didn't want to do that. And then I looked at CAR T cell from a couple of them, and the reaction scared me and everything. So I met a team of oncologists that are still experimenting with it. It's like dendritic cell, but it's with peptides in it, and it's still going through trials, clinic trials in Europe. And then there's a team in Sloan Kettering that's looking at it in the US. So I did it, and my results look good, at least in terms of PSA results look good, but I'm convinced that it's the radiation that did that, because because the half-life profile of a PSA followed more of a typical radiation treatment half-life than something where immunotherapy was the primary driver of it.
And how did they apply this peptide-based
injections that were roughly every 4 weeks, 3 weeks. One clinic wanted to do it more. My early ones were more frequent. Started out first weekly, then every other week, then it went to 4 weeks. They were looking at concentration in the body.
Yeah. So I have a great relationship with Larry Fong, going back many years. He's on our advisory board, and Larry was the original PI, principal investigator for Provenge, for the dendritic cell.
Yeah.
going back. So back around 2010, which was when I first got to know him. They were doing a whole bunch of work, and if ever you're interested, I'd be happy to connect you to Larry. He's a terrific guy, and probably one of the immuno experts in the US when it comes to prostate cancer. But it's just interesting to me. I haven't heard about this treatment. Is the trial going on at MSKCC or not?
It's, I believe the trial's still going on, but no new patients, as far as I know.
Okay.
You know, Germany tends to be very focused on, you know, it's a classic university type ecosystem when it comes, especially when it comes to oncology. So if you know, they'll propose to you what it is they're doing and go through all the science about it, blah, blah, blah. And then if you want to participate in the trial, you can do it. You can do some customization. That's a nice part. You know, you can actually talk and discuss the options with you. It's still, all of the trials here are shared and or sometimes cooperated with the US.
Okay. Do you recall who the principal investigator or who's running that at MSKCC? Is it Morris or?
Oh, he's one of the names. Yeah, Morris is one of the names, but he wasn't the person, he wasn't the doctor that I
wasn't
worked.
who you McHugh? Oh, you don't remember who you dealt with? I'm just curious because I would like to sort of track it down. That's all.
Yeah. No, it wasn't Morris and wasn't McHugh, but Morris, I've heard Morris's name on one of the video calls.
Yeah. He's a major name in here. Anyway, and one other question. When on your biopsy, did they identify anything weird like cribriform or introductal or?
You know, I was told at the time no, but then later on I asked if the biopsy could be checked again because of the form. You know, I had other people advising me this is more aggressive than a 4.3 typically, blah, blah, blah. So I got conflicting information. I was never told I had cribriform though. I was told that possibly introductory, and I asked, what does possibly mean? It is either introductory or not.
Yeah, well, actually, I shouldn't have said biopsy. I should have said your post-surgical pathology is what you is.
Yeah, and post-surgical pathology, that pathology did not identify cribriform or introductor.
You know, it might be worth your while having Epstein take a look at it and see what he says. I'm sure he's got a way of you sending the stuff to him.
Yeah.
I'll put in a second. I'll put Epstein's contact details. He now picks up the telephone himself because you know he's no longer at Hopkins, and he's running his own show. And when people call him, I say, don't be surprised when you call this number if he picks up the telephone. And I gave somebody his number on Monday. Last night, I happened to see them in our veterans group. He said, oh, I called Dr. Epstein and he did pick up the telephone. I said, okay. So I'll put that number in there.
Thank you.
And it's not, he doesn't charge a lot. And frankly, you're getting the best eye in the world to look at your histology.
Okay.
So you know you can't go wrong. And he knows AnCan. He knows us. He's on our advisory board. He knows us well. And the other thing he does, which most pathologists don't do, is he talks to you. He likes to talk to the patients. I mean, Dino, it would be a good idea to send him your post-op pathology as well and see what he sees in it.
Okay.
Because you know he really doesn't get it any better than that. So you've had let me go back one. When was the surgery? What was the date of your surgery?
October 13th, 23.
So October 13th, 23. So that's a Feb 24, Feb 25. So you finished all your treatment around February of 25. Is that right?
No, I had the surgery in October of 24 and October. Yeah. Yes, I finished all the treatment in 25. I tested as PSA undetectable in early December of what year was it? 24.
And how high was your PSA when it came back? What was the highest it got to?
You know, the only number I was told was 5.9, but 5.9 actually was tested during the summer. I was not told a PSA. I don't have a PSA value prior to the surgery. Yeah.
Prior to the surgery, but after the surgery, what was the highest it got to when it came back?
Oh, it got to I think it was 0.2.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
got
you've
the
been
threshold right about then. Yeah,
and
go
then
ahead.
you've been undetectable since December of 24 or December of 25?
December 24.
Okay.
It actually went to 0.03 in November and then was undetectable in December.
Okay. Well, that's a good story. And we're all keeping everything crossed that we've got, that it stays that way, you know?
I'm always preparing for the next treatment.
That's really, really good. So anything you want to ask us before we move on to the next person?
I'll give the time to the next people.
No.
Okay.
Okay.
I have a quick question.
Yes, please.
Jeff, you're here long term in Germany right now, right? Or are you switching between the States and Germany?
I go back and forth. I live both.
Okay.
But yeah, but I'm long.
If you don't mind, if you can drop me your phone so we can get in touch.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. I'll put mine in the chat so you can see.
What do you mean get in touch? What do you mean get in touch? You're going to have a coffee together. You're not just going to speak to each other on the telephone. How far away? Are you?
I'm going in surgery next week. So
oh, okay. Well, it's when you come out of surgery, okay?
All right. And also in the chat, I've put in the list of treatment options at the nuclear medicine in Heidelberg.
So
in case you guys are
okay. Gail, tell us what's going on with your old man.
Oh, I think he's still in the pub celebrating St. Patrick's, I think. He'll bounce in here.
Let me ask you something, Gail. Do they have green beer in France as well?
I wouldn't know, because as an Australian, I'm a complete failure. I don't drink beer, so I rarely go to the bar, and I don't really drink anything much. So do they have green beer? Probably not. But you know, he'll drink any beer. So he's in the bar drinking. He should be home by now, but because he knew I was on this call.
Oh, he's staying there. That's the reason why.
Actually, I can hear his scooter now, so he's going to bounce in the door any minute. But he's going okay. We had his 3-monthly meeting with the Radonk last night, and it went well. The previous 2, I was really unimpressed. I just thought, I don't like this guy anymore. But those previous 2 meetings, he had students with him in the room, and he was completely different. And also, I'm going to say this before Terry walks in, he gets very, very anxious, and which is probably why I've taken up doing what I'm doing, because I've learned in France, if you just let doctors do what they want, it's not always a good outcome. But he gets very anxious, and he said to me, you know, when I talked about the last meeting, he said, the only way I can survive this is to pretend I don't have cancer. So he's been in the bar pretending he doesn't have cancer. But yeah, the radonc, he's had radiotherapy last May. He finished 39 sessions, I think. And they started him, he'd been on Orgovix 8 months at the time, and after the radiotherapy, they started him on abiraterone and dexamethasone, so he's about 10 months into that. His labs are okay, it's tipped him over into being diabetic, but he's managing. I don't know how here he is. Do you want to come and say hi to the guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Actually, I'll take my headphones out so he can say hi.
Hello.
Hello.
How you doing?
Bonjour.
How are you?
Happy St. Patrick's.
I said you were in the bar drinking beer.
Yeah.
Was it green?
Green beer? No.
Well, Terry, you say no, but in the United States and in other countries on St. Patrick's Day, they make green beer.
In Ireland.
Ah, yes, St.
Ireland,
Patrick's Day. Yeah,
green
yeah,
Yes. Hey.
you're right. I love my wife.
We all love her.
Because she takes care of me.
That's
These
great.
guys help a lot.
Mwah.
And Rick, we can't see Rick at the moment, but
I love you so much.
he's been such a big help. Okay, see you. All right. So yeah, he's 10 months into. I'll flip this back on. Yeah. So, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, they'd always talked about, 3 years of hormone therapy. And last week, my question was how long? And, the Stampede protocol was 2 years of Abby. And last night in talking to the radonc, they talked about the duration. And I just said, oh, so it's 2 years like in Stampede? And he said, yes. And then he said, yeah, there's no evidence that being on it longer is going to be helpful. And so he was saying all the right things that I wanted to hear, because the previous times he'd been saying, oh, we might need to keep you on it longer. And I thought, there's no justification for that at the moment. So we're just cruising along here.
So this, the topic came up yesterday, but in a little bit different context. And it's on the screen right now. I'm writing it up, but the recording is already on YouTube. It'll go out soon. We have a young guy in his 50s who's just done triplet therapy. Really, really good guy up in Seattle. So he's finished his chemo and he's now on, I think he's actually on Lupron and Abby. I can't remember. And he's already talking, well, when can I go on a break? When can I go on a break? And it's almost always the first question that these guys ask as soon as they're feeling more together. When the cancer recurs, which wasn't Terry's situation, right? He was de novo metastatic. Was that right?
No. There was extra prostatic extension, maybe, and one dubious lymph node, so no, not clearly metastatic.
Not clearly metastatic, but this is his first set of treatment, right? So when it's your first set of treatment, what we seem to think now is somewhere between 18 on the low side and 36 on the high side. There's also a lot of stuff coming out right now about how much treatment, how much radiation to give with, how much hormone therapy to give with radiation. Kishan and Spratt just wrote a paper.
I read that.
Oh, you've read it. Okay. So I was going to put it in there, but you have it already. So as you know, their feeling is 6 months, maybe 12 months. And in very unusual circumstances, you could go to 18 months or more. So, you know, I think 24 months is sort of at the outside. And then there's a whole nother issue around, well, what happens when you come off the radiation therapy, when you come off the hormone therapy? In my own case, my PSA rose for 11 months. I just going up and up and up. And I was only on Lupron. I mean, at that time, abiraterone was just, it hadn't even been approved, although we knew about it. And Chuck Ryan had told us about it and what have you, because Chuck was at UCSF at the time. And Mac would say to me, don't worry, it's going to come down. Don't worry, it's going to come down. And he'd keep saying this to me because I was actually a Kaiser patient and I'd get tested at Kaiser and then I'd send Mac my results and it'll come. And it got all the way up from 0 to 0.95, I think, after 11 months. And then it came down and it just came down and came down and came down. Now, there are reasons for this, and I'll send you a little graph that I made because Stephen Frank, who is at MD Anderson, I happened to sit next to him at a meeting, and he explained to me, but nobody's ever published this, but but when you come off of hormone therapy, you do tend to see your PSA rise to a point and then tend to drop. And you and I can talk about that offline because it's kind of specific. But how long's Terry been on now?
Well, he had 8 months of Orgovix before they started the radiotherapy, just because I think they are under-resourced here and they just kept delaying the radiotherapy.
Yeah.
And then they started the
Abby
last May when he finished the radiotherapy. So we're coming up about 10 and a half months of Abby. And so
all together going well over
18 months.
18 months. So you're in negotiating. You're in the negotiating period. Guys, what do you guys think? What do the rest of the guys think about this? Do you have any opinions?
How an Aussie bird is going to negotiate with a French radonk? Yeah, not going to go well.
I'm guessing you have the most data, Rick, of hormone therapy related treatment.
Yeah. I mean, I would say that is he talking about 2 years from when you started the Orgovix or 2 years from when you started the abiraterone?
2 years of Abby, because they say that the Stampede protocol, which, you know, the French version of the Stampede protocol is 2 to 3 years of hormone therapy. And then on he's always said, no, he needs 3 years based on what I don't know.
Right. I think that's a lot. I think that's a lot. Just out of he has no cardio issues, right?
No, he's been seeing the cardiologist every 3 months for monitoring, and that's all okay.
It's all good. Okay.
I mean, he's obese, but he's got a lot of comorbidities. He's on a lot of medication. This tipped him over into being diabetic, so now he's on what's it called?
All right. Well, listen.
Complicated.
We'll keep talking to you about how long, and we'll keep sending you any information we've got so you can make your case.
Yeah, I just have to catch the radonk when he's in a mood for talking about something other than skiing and, you know, going to New Zealand. But and there's not a student in the room, because when there's a student in the room, there's no speaking to him. You know, he's got to show who's the boss. Yeah, and he was sort of saying, well, look, all of his you know, he's not seeing anything on Terry's lab results to make him worried. I mean, you know, there's the ongoing fatigue. He's not managing that, you know, the skin issues, the aches and pains, and all of the stuff that goes when you have no testosterone. Yeah.
All right. So anything you want to ask the guys before we move on?
No. I'm, you know, it's good listening to you. I'm learning from listening to you, but I'm not sure I can contribute anything to help any of you.
You can contribute. Don't worry. You will. You can, and you will. Dino, bring us up to date.
All right. So, as I mentioned after last meeting that we had here, I took a trip to Hamburg for a pre-op or a pre-surgery consultations. I spoke with the guys there. They saw me. They're like, "Yeah, okay, sure, no problem." And they put me on tadalafil, which supposedly it's a 5 milligram pill each day, supposedly to increase the blood flow and help with recovery of the erectile function, if it will be if it will be the choice if it comes up, if they don't have to cut off the nerves. And then I had immediately after that, like a week or so later, I've already been on the pill for a week then, and I was there on the 18th of February, so exactly a month ago. Yeah, a month ago. And the week before, I did my monthly Degarelix or Firmagon shot. And then a week after I came back from Hamburg, I started to notice this swelling. It felt like a vein was swollen on the left side of my abdomen, initially started in the groin area, and it kind of migrated upwards, and it honestly freaked me out because I know that my dad, a few years ago, when he got diagnosed, and on his day of the surgery for prostate cancer, he had a stroke right in front of the hospital.
Wow.
So I was like, no, this cannot be. This is like what history repeating. I was freaking out. I thought I'm having like some sort of blood clot. It followed the vein. And from what I read, it's also at the same location as the vein. It's a tendon, and it's also the one of the lymph node channels. So I was like, oh great, pick one, like which one is it gonna be? So I watched it for like a week. Then I went to my family doctor. I said, hey, I have this problem in here. He's like, oh, hey, you probably pulled a muscle. I'm like, no, I know how you pull a muscle. I know how that feels. He gave me some cream and got rid of me. I'm like, no. I stayed like few more days. Nothing happened. And last week I did check myself into the ER here in Heilbronn. And I told him, hey, what I have. And then I spent 8 hours in the ER room waiting. I was seen by some nurses, then they did some EKGs, then they did blood, then they stuck me for 8 hours with one of those needles in my arms in case they need to administer any pain medicine or anything. It's one of my pet peeves to have things stuck in my vein. And then they did CT of the head. And then they also did a radiography in the abdominal area, and they kept saying, "Oh, we don't see anything." And eventually, some guy came with a mobile ultrasonic machine, and he fished around there. He's like, "I don't see anything. I don't see anything. I don't see anything." He's like, "Where does it hurt?" I'm like, "It hurts right here. See, so if I stretch myself up and so on." And he kept looking, and hey, guess what? He finally found something, and it turns out I have a small hernia. And I was like, yeah, great. It's cherry on top of the cake for me, especially now. And then they said, well, you know, I told me I have cancer. I have my surgery in a week. Is this going to affect it? They said, no, it's very small. It shouldn't be any kind of influence. It's not in the area where they're going to go in and operate. You should be fine. The guy actually who did the ultrasound, when I told him I'm having surgery, right away, he's like, you're going to do Da Vinci? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do Da Vinci. He's like, don't worry, they're not going to come in the area. So I'm like, all right, good. Well, I also sent the results from the report that I got from the ER to Hamburg clinic to say, hey, by the way, I just got this. Let me know if there's anything. No response. I'm like, okay, so I'm assuming there's nothing wrong. And just to add even more stuff, because that's the kind of stuff I always get, I was like, okay, I'm going to focus the week before my surgery. I'm going to stay healthy. Guess what? I got a call to you guys. Probably saw me blow my nose, and I skipped work today because last night I couldn't sleep at all. My sinuses and I couldn't breathe. So I was like, well, hey, great. Instead of, you know, being ready and physically fit to go into the surgery, I'm going through this crappy cold right now. And hopefully I'll get over it in a day or two. That way I still have the weekend to kind of build up a little bit of a immunity. And then next Wednesday, when the surgery is taking place, I'll be okay. So yeah, as I mentioned, surgery will be exactly 1 week from now. I was telling my wife today, like, hey, 1 week from now I'll be prostate free. I'll be a new man. So yep, I'm kind of psyched about it, to be honest. I'm going there by myself. Traveling, I have to check in the day before, so I'll be checking in the hospital on 24th at 9 o'clock in the morning. But since it's a 6-hour train ride, I'm gonna travel the day before, so I'll be traveling on the 24th. I'll check in, I'll stay overnight there in a hotel. Then 25th, I'll check in the morning, and I'll probably stay. They'll probably run tests and all kind of stuff for me, run me through the whole checklist with the anesthesia, the guy that does the anesthesia. And then they said probably in the morning they'll put me in the or they said, you know, it's going to be 3-hour thing, and then they, like I said, they will freeze my nerves in situ. They will take my prostate. They have a on-site biopsy lab right there. They will slice my prostate as I'm laying down there, not fully open, just poked with like 6 holes in me. And then they'll look at the margins and they say, yep, we need to cut more, or no, you're fine. And we can save some nerves, hopefully. That's and then they said, hey, in the evening, you should be able to get up and walk around. I'm like, all right. Sounds like a plan. And then I'll hang out there for a week in the hospital. And when they'll discharge me, they said they will not discharge me with a catheter. They said they will take it out. They said only in very, very rare cases they discharge people with a catheter if they have complications or something like that. But they don't expect anything in my case.
So they're keeping you in because of the catheter. I mean, you know, in the United States, they don't do that. They send you home next day.
And you have to take care of yourself at home.
And I mean, I've just had a guy, just as a sort of a fellow who's come to us recently, and I think will be very, very helpful to us going forward. But he had surgery last Monday, and a week ago Monday, and he went back in yesterday and got his catheter out. They sent him home the next day.
Okay. No, I think here's standard procedure in Germany to, if they put a catheter on you, at least for prostate cancer, they keep you in the hospital. Because I've been here even when I go to the local hospital here in Heilbronn to get my Firmagon shot, and I'm waiting there, I see guys who are walking, you know, they're just kind of walking around. I see they're checked in there. They're just kind of, you know, wearing sweats and stuff, and they're just hanging around with their little catheter bag, you know, just doing their steps or whatever, you know, through the hospital.
How did you deal with that, Jeff? They kept you in for 7 days?
Yeah, Germany, like Dino said, the difference, it was a shock to me, by the way, that in Germany, the whole system is set up that you're in for at least 5 days. And then they do the check. And they really won't release you until the catheter is out, which is completely opposite of our experience in the US. Right? It's just a different way of thinking about it. So but is it part of it is that the costs are completely different. Costs are completely different for the insurance provider and the hospital. So Dinu goes to the #1 clinic in not just Germany, it may be the #1 in Europe for prostate cancer surgery. And he's going to pay 2,000 euros in the end, right? That's not even remotely possible in the United States to do, as you know. So
I mean, I've heard some price tags they're vehiculated in the States as far as like treatment and medicine and even the ADT shots. I was like, okay, I'm kind of happy I got prostate cancer in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all things considered. I mean, you know, I'm not happy to have it, but I'm happy that I got it here.
Yeah,
Dino,
Go ahead. I was going to say, Rick, if the catheter is not ready to come out on the 5th day or 6th day, they'll actually keep you in another day or two.
Yep.
Interesting.
And that happens rarely. I mean, we've seen it a few times where they've kept the catheter in longer, but I could count it on one hand the number of people that weren't ready to get a catheter out after 7 days. That's just my anecdotal experience. Gail, you wanted to say something?
No, just, do you know if you wanted to go home, could you? Or they
I'm
won't?
not sure if you have the option to check. I think you can just tell them, hey, you know, I don't want to do it. I just want to stay. I want to go home. But in my case, I was like, hey, why would I? I mean, I'd rather stay here till everything is out and everything's safe. And they do offer me support and professional care for cleaning and all that stuff, rather than going home and, you know, trying to figure out. And then since it's in Hamburg, which is 6-hour train ride, I'll have to go to the local hospital. Somebody else will have to take it out, and I say, no, I'll just stay there, do my thing, let them finish the work. Yeah. And then if there's anything that needs to be done, then they can just do it there and not have to worry about explaining this to some other doctor, like, hey, by the way, this is what happened there. So, but
Dino, did you have a choice of we'll say surgery or radiation, or was just surgery your choice?
Well, I had all the choices, to be honest. Even when I first bumped into AnCan in September, right after my diagnostic, I started to talk, and there was always the option. What I did, and this is with help of Rick, you know, first of all, I'm 45, right? So I was like freaking out, like, no way, why am I getting this at 45? I went shotgun out there. I went and I reached to all the clinics in Germany, and with the help of Rick, and he put me in contact with some people from US. So we bounced around the communication chain from Germany to Rick. Rick put me in charge with with the lady, with Dr. E. And then I spoke with her on LinkedIn, and then she gave me some contacts here in Germany for some clinics. And then I reached out to those clinics. And in all honesty, I mean, I reached out, like I said, to about 12 different clinics here in Germany. And I got about half as many different opinions about what should my treatment be, from right away surgery to ADT for 2 years to, oh yeah, we're going to do radiation and ADT, and then we'll think about it. And maybe if we need to, we'll do surgery. And well, like, it was a whole mix. I was like, oh, man, great, thanks. I was hoping for like a more unified approach, or at least opinion. The way it makes it easier for me to make my decision, but it wasn't. It was, and then at that point, I was like, you know what, I'm going to stop. And I kind of went here locally at Heilbronn. I said, okay, I need to start ADT anyway. Till I figure out exactly what I want to do later. And I started with, like I said, Lupron. For like a month and a half, and then the guy switched me to Firmagon because.
What was your Gleason score?
9. 4 + 5. 9 out of the 12 course in the initial biopsy, And yep, there was one of the other things, you know, guys, hold on, and Gail also hold on. For those who heard me last time, my initial PSA was 690.
Jesus. 690.
Yes, and I was like, I didn't know what it meant. You know, the guy, I did my, here in Germany, when you're 45, you qualify for the first prostate exam. So I say, hey, I'm going to be diligent about it. I'm going to go do my exam, you know, preventive. And I went in there, especially since my dad had cancer. And, you know, the guy does his finger thing and like, it's a little bit enlarged, you know, let's just do some blood. Do you want to give some blood? I'm like, yeah, sure, no problem. And they did blood right away. Come to find out that that's actually not a good practice to take blood for PSA measurements immediately after the rectal exam, because the prostate is excited from the pressure and is going to spike out the PSA level. So yeah, that's why I now have 600.
You'll
Yeah.
be pleased to know that they've taken that out of the most recent AUA guidelines, which is ridiculous.
Okay.
So now they no longer, they say it's okay now, which is crazy. They've also taken out the bike riding stuff as well. But you know, we're talking to them about that.
But so after I got that initial, which I didn't know what 600 meant, I was like, okay, the guy's like, you probably have cancer. I'm like, okay, sure, you know, whatever, we'll talk about it. Okay, go home. He's like, the urologist I was seeing here locally in Heilbronn, he called me as soon as the results came back, and he said, hey, we need to talk. When can you come in? I said, okay, I'll come in tomorrow. So I went in the next day, and then he kind of set me down. He's like, all right, here's the number, 690. I was like, okay, what does that mean? He's like, well, you most likely have cancer. I'm like, okay, well, he explained to me, like, normally for your age, you should be around maximum 2. And I said, okay, 690. I mean, like, should I still be alive if normal is 2? He's like, yeah, and then he even offered, he's like, are you okay to get back home? Because he thought I was in shock or something. I'm gonna be freaking out, you know, of the diagnostic. But I was like, okay, sure. I mean, it didn't sink in until I got home and I started to look it up, and I realized, I was like, oh crap, that's not good. But anyway, 2 days later, I went into a local lab here in Heilbronn, and I paid like 20 euros to redo my PSA. I was like, there's no way, there's 690. I was like, I should be all over the place in pain. And the guy even asked me, like, are your bones hurting? I'm like, no. I had no symptoms whatsoever. And then he the second PSA that I did on my own came way down, still high, was 180. And that's when I was like, okay, looks like it's still high, but not that high. So that's when, like I said, when I started to went through my week of freaking out and crying and thinking I'm gonna die in the next couple of months. Then I did all kind of things. I ran into AnCan, and I'm like, hey, good. So I started to do my research. But yeah, so the option for me were, I mean, everybody who I spoke with, they give me different options. So that's when I said, you know what, sure, I'll take it out, because I don't want to, especially for my age, since radiation supposedly, if it's done, it may have some side effects for the rectum and the other areas, and long term it may lead to other issues. And I say, yeah, I'm young, hopefully I still have a lot of life left in me. And I don't want to put extra stuff by, you know, radiating myself if not necessary. So I say, you know what, let's do the surgery, take it out, and then we'll see what comes out on the pathology after the surgery and decide the treatment afterwards. I'm hoping that, you know, even if there's something there, then my initial option, I would say, yeah, maybe some radiation, but definitely with ADT, or, you know, hormone treatment. And then if it's only possible with hormone treatment, that would be great, so I don't have to deal with the radiation, but we'll see. Since my prostate is already out, so I have no testosterone, so like ADT is not going to do any difference. You know, it's not going to affect my testosterone level anymore because I don't have any. So.
Well, you will when you stop taking. You will when you stop taking it. But I think that, and we've set Dino's expectations, and the likelihood is it's very likely he'll need radiation. But if he doesn't, it's going to be great. But we've talked through it. I want to I want to make sure we get.
Yeah. Can I just ask Dino,
Yes.
on the scans, on your scans, had it come out of the prostate area?
So it's localized to prostate with it was 2 lymph nodes on the left side and 1 on the right side, and also seminal vesicle migration. Since I've been on ADT, so that was on my initial PSMA scan, which was in September, and then I just redid another PSMA. I had to pay for it for myself because the insurance was not covering, so it was like 1,600 euros. It was in Heidelberg, and it came out that the prostate did shrink a little bit, and also the lymph node that was lighting up in the initial scan, the one on the right side, is no longer visible. So, but yeah, we'll see.
That's
what. Yeah,
I mean, yeah, and sorry to keep asking questions. And your dad, how old was he at diagnosis, and was he the same as you? Or
no, he was because he was only diagnosed like 2 years ago or 3 years now, 3 years ago.
Oh.
So he was he was like 69.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then he did he went initially, like I said, he was scheduled for surgery, but because he had a stroke, he ended up in the ER, and then because of the stroke he had to stay in the hospital for 1 month rehab, and he was partially paralyzed on the left side. He's still having issues like now 3 years later with his left arm and his left leg. You know, he's kind of dragging it, and left arm doesn't have the strength and the dexterity like he used to be. But because then the surgeons, they said, you're too high risk because you had a stroke, we're not going to do the surgery for prostate anymore. So he did the brachytherapy where he got the seeds in. I think he did like 2 sessions or something like that. I don't remember exactly. And that was it. And after that, supposedly his PSA, which he checks like, I think like every 3 months or something like that, has always been undetectable. Like, all right, I guess. But he was a Gleason 6 or 7. So his was not so advanced. But for me, because the biopsy, so also blood and my biopsy genetic analysis came out with first of all ATM mutation, and also BRCA2 VUS, and so that was just from the blood. And then when the guys here, the oncology, I spoke with the oncology doctor here at Heilbronn, and they said, "Oh, did you do a biopsy or did you do a genetic on the biopsy that they took the course?" I'm like, "No, I only did it on the blood." He's like, "Okay." So he requested it, and then it came back. It confirmed the ATM on the BRCA VUS, but it also came back with the ALDLR, which turns out it was accidentally found out too, but it turns out it's one of those genes that affects the cholesterol. So I knew I had slightly higher cholesterol. I just figured, hey, maybe I'm not eating so healthy, but it turns out I have a mutation, a gene mutation that's driving that. So
yeah, but that's a somatic mutation and not a germline mutation, correct?
Inherited, right?
Yeah. So the difference, guys, for those of you who don't know, is that the germline mutations are inherited, and the somatic mutations are what you make yourself in your own body. as a response to living. So, so anyway, I do want to move on to Graham and then to Neil, and then we should have some time at the end just to get back into sort of just chatting about like you were before, which was great. I was kind of listening in when I was trying to get in and out. Graham, tell us where you're at and what's going on.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm so my PSA was 1,311. So I kind of, in the PSA top trumps, I beat you, Dino, but that was in May 2020. I'm on enzalutamide and quarterly Lupron injections, and my last result, which was only 2-3 weeks ago, was less than 0.03. So I'm so I've responded really well. I went through everything Dinu went through. I thought, I had like 2, months to live as well. Once you realise, the guy said to me, we worry if it's over 5. Was my urologist said. So yeah, I was 53 at diagnosis. So yeah, I've responded really well, brilliantly. I've not had because it had spread to bones and lymph nodes. They didn't remove my prostate or radiate me. I even asked them to radiate me, but they wouldn't. So I was kind of knocked on the head, really. I'm waiting for some new scans in May, and hopefully we'll see what they come back as. Yeah, I mean, on our last call here, and it's in my head, is, do I come off treatment? Do I take a holiday? At the minute, I don't feel confident enough to do that. I need to see the next lot of scans. And then it's a big roll of the dice. Do you come off or don't you? It's a massive roll of the dice to stay on something that is working, actually. I need the scans to tell me for sure. Or do I just, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Or, I don't know if that's an expression in Germany, but, it's an expression in the UK, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, or do I, will I get extended life by coming off medication? So that's where I'm at, really. I need my scan results, and yeah.
So
yeah,
right now you're on Lupron and abiraterone, is that right?
Enzalutamide.
Oh, Lupron and enzalutamide. So here's the concern that we have, and there is a lot of evidence, and it may well be that you've got to bring in a genitourinary medical oncologist, and there are several of them in the United Kingdom who are very well respected. There's a Nick James and De Bono at the Marsden, and Heather Payne. But when you stay on these ARSI drugs for too long, what can happen is the cancer adapts and it morphs, and then you're done because nothing else will work. So you have to stay in a position, in a place where your cancer is still sensitive to hormones. It's still an adenocarcinoma, and it is not a small cell like disease. And sadly, we've seen 2 or 3 people that I can think of right off the top, probably more, who stayed on too long, including the guy whose this room is named after, Rob Meniscus, who responded exceptionally well to abiraterone. He did about 5 years on abiraterone plus the ADT drug Lupron. But then when it stopped working, nothing worked. And so by switching up and down, changing the ARSI, maybe going on monotherapy and dropping the ADT, maybe coming off altogether and going back on, you keep the cancer on its toes.
I
And it
understand
isn't
that.
able to figure out a permanent workaround. And so we always encourage people, 2-3 years, you got to be talking to your doc about changing this up or down. Don't stay on that same treatment. How long have you, when were you diagnosed?
May 2020, and yeah, I've been on it. Well, I started the enzalutamide in July 2020, so you know it's 5.5 years.
Yeah, I would definitely be, I'd definitely be getting off of it, seeing where you are. If it were me, I'd get off of it, see where you are, see what happens to my PSA. If my PSA comes up, let's see where it's coming from. Maybe we can radiate that spot. But it's, you know, you're getting to a point where I would be really concerned. Because when you, yes, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But it is broken. And we know sooner or later, the cancer's going to find a workaround, because it always does. The problem is how far can we push that away? And I would be trying to get an appointment with one of these GU medical oncologists and talking to them, rather than your local guy who knows a little bit about prostate cancer, but not a heck of a lot. And they're going to follow you, and they're going to do the least that needs to be done.
He does, yeah. My guy's like minimalistic.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know him actually. I mean, you know, if he dropped dead in front of me on the street, I wouldn't go,
Yeah,
oh, there's my. I wouldn't know that was my doctor. So, yeah.
I mean, I would.
Maybe you guys advocate. I mean, listening to Dino and Jeff and Gail, you guys really advocate for yourselves, don't you? Which is good.
You have to. And even in the NHS, you can do it, but it's not easy. So, you know, if it were me right now, I'd either probably try and get an appointment with Heather Payne, which is possible.
Okay, I've not heard of her. I have heard the other two, and actually the Nick James guy. I think I'm in a local group in Leicester, and the guy there does have an in with Nick James. So,
well, definitely Nick James. Yeah, I mean you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong with Nick James. Heather Payne is who we sent. What's his name? Your Irish buddy who was here last time. Gareth. We sent him to Heather Payne. He had a really good appointment. I'll tell you where she's at in a second. Hold on a minute.
Yeah,
I've seen her talk on YouTube. If you Google her on YouTube, I've seen her give some presentations, and she looks like a top lady.
Yeah, I've never heard of her.
The reason we like her is because Eleni Evstathiou, she talks about her very highly. I think she's not at the Marsden. She is at, I want to say, is she at Imperial? You know, UC. She's at UC. She's at UCH.
UCH, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you, Rick? I don't want to take it all about me now, but I mean, just in terms of, you know, you talking about holidays, and I do want to see my next, you know, so the next time we all meet, I won't have had my scan results, I don't think, but I do want to see my scan results first, because it is a really, it's a hard question. But are you in the, if I come off the medication, do I then sort of pump myself with some of the guys, and there's a guy, Rick, someone who's written a book on, taking testosterone to actually pump your testosterone up to really screw with the cancer.
So that's a surgery. That is a treatment option.
Yeah.
So so BAT. If you go to our website and I'll put the link in there for you. But the guy who first came up with that was a guy called Sam Denmead at Johns Hopkins, and he working with Dr. Antonarakis, who is now in Minnesota, in Minneapolis, who is terrific, another Greek doc, and a couple of others. The whole BAT is, I think, very marginal. It works, but it only works for a very short time. It's the sort of treatment that you do when nothing else is starting to work. So if we find that your disease is starting to become more like small cell, we have a bunch of options. One of those options is BAT, which stands for bipolar androgen therapy, where they give you high doses of testosterone, and then they stop it, and then they give you androgen deprivation therapy for 30 days, and then they stop that, and then they give you the testosterone again. It does work, but it doesn't have any endurance. It doesn't have any durability. And so it's really, really skeptical. I'll put the link. I just put the Heather Payne link for you in the chat window. And there's a lot of stuff around BAT that's on the web. It's sort of more sexy than it is effective.
Okay.
And you don't feel any better from these high doses of testosterone.
I wouldn't be taking it to feel better. I've kind of, it's not about that now. It's just about what gives me the greatest longevity.
Now, there's some other stuff too. I mean, De Bono's doing a couple of terrific things at the Marsden in terms of trials. He showed one trial which was just remarkable in San Francisco at GU ASCO.
Oh, right.
So I'm trying to remember. It was with a what are they called? I can describe it. It's a molecule that one end attaches to the cancer and the other end carries something like either a radionuclide or a T cell attractor. The one that De Bono is working with pulls T cells right into the cancer.
Okay.
And I can't remember the name. I'd have to look and see. Hold on a minute.
No, don't worry. Okay.
I can tell you what it is. Hold on, because he presented, and I happen to have the program right here, and I've just got to find, where was it? Morris Sneed De Bono. VIR 5500.
VIR.
Yeah,
V for Victory.
Victor, IR 5500, or it also goes by AMX 500. It's a T-cell engager.
Yeah.
And he's working on that. He's got a trial going with it. I mean, that to me, see, I don't know how eligible you are, but we wouldn't know if you're eligible until you probably come off. And if you don't come off, it'll be too late when we find out. So we've got to get you managed by somebody who's working with it, like a De Bono or a James or a Heather Payne.
Okay. Thank
you. But if you've got a guy who can get you to Nick James, have him get you into the Marsden.
Yeah, I know.
Have him get you in. next month when we meet, I'd love to hear you say, "Yeah, I got an appointment coming up with Dr. James."
Don't put
So we love,
pressure on.
we love that.
Yeah, okay. I'm seeing the guy tomorrow, actually. So,
Yeah,
I
and he's
will.
good, James. I mean, I've heard him present in San Francisco a couple of times. I don't think I've ever introduced myself to him. I almost did this time, but I don't have
Okay.
anybody who now, you know, if we have guys, if we have people who work with the patients, I've introduced myself to De Bono. We
Yeah.
have a great De Bono story, which is that one of our former board members, who's BRCA2, was BRCA2, and I supported for a long time, Professor Bill, we loved him, was working on olaparib in his lab. He was a yeast geneticist in Roswell Park in northern New York. And he had all of this olaparib in his lab. And then it turned out that he had metastatic prostate cancer and he was BRCA2. And he was working with De Bono, and he called De Bono and he said, "Do you think I should take this?" And in fact, he started taking olaparib. This was in 2016, long before it was approved, and he got 2 years out of it, which was great. But we lost it. We lost Bill. But yeah, I mean, so I actually went up to De Bono and I said, I said, Professor Bill Burhans was on our board. Anyway, but yes, try and push for an appointment.
Okay.
Anybody
Thanks.
else want to say anything to Graham? Jeff, you're like looking very pensive there, like there's something going on.
Graham, do it. Too many, even for me, a relatively young guy in this journey, I have seen too many people had happen to them what Rick just described.
Yeah, I have seen it. I've seen it both ways. I've seen a guy go in 2 years, and he was in my village. I mean, crikey, it's a small village in England. But then I've seen another guy go 12 years. But neither of them took the holiday like they came off. So, but you know,
well,
it's.
What came to mind, Graham, when I was listening to Rick is that I try to act like a sponge when I'm participating on any of these forums, and we only can make decisions based on the information we have. So to have a resource like Rick, and then through Rick, all these other people doing research on it is a gift. Because ultimately we come to better decisions the more information we have.
You know, the guy who was on for 12 years, how much of that time was he also on a second-line anti-androgen like abiraterone or enzalutamide?
That's a good question. I think he was only on it. I think he was only on it 5 years, 6 years. I think he was just on Lupron to start with.
Yeah.
And then actually, then in the last 5 years, he went. He was an older guy. He was like 82. He was very fit. But yeah, I think he was on enzalutamide like me, because I remember when we met, I was like, wow, you know, 2 people in Leicester who are on enzalutamide. And yeah, I think he went in 5 years after doing 7 years on the Lupron. So yeah, okay. Maybe I've just buried my head in the sand a bit on this. That
No, I think you've
I've
got
responded well, and it's really difficult.
So did Rob. I mean, you know, I was with Rob. I met Rob in 2011, long before we started. And Rob was in this telephone group that I was part of and that we parlayed into what is now AnCan. And he was on the abiraterone trial. it was with Cougar, and then Abiraterone went to Johnson & Johnson, and he was with, well, Janssen at the time. And he was on that Abiraterone trial, and he did great on it for years and years and years. When I say great, he had the side effects of and he was young. He was 40. He was Dinu's age, early 40s when he was diagnosed metastatic. And then around, and he was the one who actually filed all the papers to get us started as AnCan Foundation. And then around 2000, and we did that in 2016, and within a very short time thereafter, his abiraterone started to fail him, and nothing worked. Nothing. We couldn't get anything to work. Before that, he was like you, and so I always say to guys, you got to talk about switching it up, switching it down. Now one of the things we like to talk about is monotherapy, which back in the day, we've been talking monotherapy for years because we think monotherapy is easier on the patient. And whether it's monotherapy Abi, whether it's monotherapy enzalutamide, apalutamide, monotherapy darolutamide, don't take the ADT because guys feel better like that. And that's another way of switching it up if you don't want to come off altogether. But you've got to have a forward-thinking medical oncologist who's willing to work with you on that. My thought is that if you get to somebody like James, he's not only forward-thinking, but he's also got his finger in all of the trial pies that are going on with DeBono and everybody else. I kind of feel that he's more patient-centric than DeBono. DeBono's really a boffin. You know, he sees patients, but I think he's very much a boffin. So anyway, and I put our discussion on the bipolar androgen therapy that's on the website is in the chat window, so you can click and listen to that. That's from 2017. A lot has happened since. I'm going to try and find a paper that Dan Meaden and Tanarakis wrote about 2 years ago, which is a patient-centric paper about BAT, and I'll try and put that in. But if it was me, there's much better things right now than BAT.
Okay. All right. No, thank you. Thanks.
Neil, you've been so patient there. It must be all that beer you drank last night.
Yesterday.
How many Jamesons did you have with that beer?
Too many. I'm surviving. Just about. Right. I won't delay. I spoke earlier, as I said, you're going to put me in touch there regards the HBOT. Just another query there, we'll say, regards PSA at this stage. My PSA went up to 0.367, and my consultant said you'd get a spike. It came back to 0.136 in January, and this month to 0.154. So he was saying that unless it goes up near 2, we're not too worried. What's your opinion on that, Rick?
So you're gonna have to remind me about your situation because I didn't do I should. Last month was the first one, so we couldn't do full check-ins with everybody. So maybe depending where we are, I probably need to take a whole history of Graham and a whole history of you, but I'm not going to do that now. So tell us quickly what your situation is.
Quickly, diagnosed February 24, Gleason 7/4+3, had radiation, brachytherapy, and AD3, radiation 15 sessions, 3 injections of ADT and brachytherapy, finished the radiation June 24th, and last injection October 24th ADT. That's it. Since then I've had I've had the medications now, but I've had the burning, we'll say, from the bladder, the uterine. I've had the cystogram, I've had the urogram. They found nothing. So as I said, I suggested the HBOT since we last spoke, and I've stopped in that on Monday, and that's basically where I'm at.
Okay, I got it basically. So and no evidence of any metastasis anywhere.
No.
Okay. So Yeah, I mean, the treatment that you got is similar to the treatment I got in 2007, although did you get seeds or did you get high dose brachytherapy?
I got high dose.
You got high dose. I got seeds. I mean, it's a good treatment. It's certainly
I got seeds. I got seeds as well. I got seeds. Yeah, sorry, go on. Sorry,
You
go
got
on.
seeds. You got
Yeah.
you got seeds. Yeah. So seeds is what I did. I would say that I would let that, if it were me, I'd let my PSA rise to probably somewhere around 0.4 to 0.5, at which point I'd get a PSMA scan, because that's, we should be able to see something. You can see stuff at 0.1, 0.2, but what's likely happening, if there's something going on, and if there is a recurrence, then if you get up to about 0.4, 0.5, there's something there. We know there's something there, but we need to know what's there, because there's lots of options now, including going without hormone therapy, but just radiating that lesion. And we know that works. There are other things going on. I got a guy, one of my best buddies, who's trying to get into a trial at UCLA where they're going to give him Pluvicto or an actinium, an alpha base, and then they're going to radiate, and they're going to see if that works. You know, traditionally what we've always done with somebody like yourself, where we see it come back, is we give them 2 years of hormone therapy and we radiate the spot. Well, that's, to me, from what I know, that's overkill. And I don't want to see somebody go on hormone therapy if they don't have to go on hormone therapy. And if we can work around that, and that's what these trials are all looking at, and this new term called metastasis-directed therapy, MDT, is what we call it now, which is what we used to call whack-a-mole. You know, a spot pops up, you radiate it. Another spot pops up, you radiate it. And how long can we keep that going without encouraging the cancer, but also keeping a good quality of life, which is really what we want to do? And now, like I say, this Andromeda trial in UCLA looks real interesting. They've done a couple of other trials. There's also a couple of MDT trials where they're testing just shooting at it versus shooting at it plus giving you hormone therapy and seeing what the difference is, giving you a period of hormone therapy and seeing what the difference is. So my thought on what you're doing is, yeah, it's the right thing. The radiation cystitis is a bummer. I've had radiation. I had a little bit of radiation cystitis. I had a lot of radiation proctitis. I've been living with it for the last 17 years. But, it's a darn sight better living with it on this side of the grass than the other side of the grass. So it is what it is. I do think the hyperbaric could be helpful, but I also would really want you to talk to Dr. Pierre before. He's got a French name, but he's not French. He's American. So
much better.
You're muted just as well. What did you say?
Probably a good thing, actually. I'll put that.
Yes, I knew what was coming. Yes. But yes, I would say don't get too concerned until you see that. But test. How often are you testing your PSA?
Every 6 months.
I mean, the question I have is why you had that spike before you had. But what was your PSA before that 0.3 reading?
I think it was 0.1 something, but
Yeah.
according to him, according to my consultant, you'd get a spike after. Usually, people get spikes after the radiation stroke ADT. That was his take on it.
Okay, so yeah, it's true. I mean, it could have climbed up to point, like mine. I told you, mine climbed up to 0.9 and then it fell. So, you know, but I don't know the exact timing. So it could have been a spike. So I would just bear with watching it. I tell you what I would do. I would definitely do is I would get tested at least every 3 months, at least.
Okay.
Because 6 months, if there is a recurrence, 6 months is too long. It can get away from you and are things we should do. So at the time you're at, when I was there, I was getting tested monthly, getting a PSA test monthly.
Okay, we'll do that.
And so I would maximum every 3 months, maximum every 3 months, and maybe every 6 weeks, just to keep on top of it until you get to that stable point.
Okay, so you're saying about 0.5, then go for the PSMA.
Well, I hope you'll never get to 0.5.
Yeah, hopefully.
I think that given what you're telling me, and you had a spike and you're tailing off, you know, there's a good chance that you may get down to undetectable, like I'm at.
Great.
But that won't help you with the radiation cystitis.
Well, I say I'm starting that on Monday. I'm booked in to start next Monday. So.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody else want to talk to anything for Neil? Thoughts?
Good luck.
Yes.
Good luck. Yeah.
Exactly.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Good luck,
Now,
Neil.
let me ask you something. When you go in that chamber, are you gonna take in with you one of those divers helmets with you as well? Like, will you?
No.
You know? No. Did you ask?
I'll get the bends when I come out.
You get the bends. And tell me something. Did you ask him if you're going to see any fishy swimming around in there?
Well, hopefully not.
Rick, maybe
just sorry, one other question.
Oh, go ahead.
One other question, Rick. Have you heard of a guy? I've been in contact with him back before now, and he's big into supplements and diet. We know that. Chris Woolen, he's out in Thailand.
No.
Chris Woolen.
No.
Woolen. Okay.
No,
fine.
I haven't. And you know, there's a lot of, you've got to be careful. You've got to be careful with supplements. First of all, we probably, if we're eating right, we really shouldn't need too many supplements. Now, there are some things we can't do much about. So where you are, the likelihood is that your D is low, and especially D3. Have you tested D3?
Yeah, I'm on vitamin D. I got osteoporosis as well, so I'm on the D3, K2, and A, and so I'm building on that.
So, you know, so there are some things, but the guys who tout these large doses, first of all, you've got to make sure they don't interfere with anything else. Memorial Sloan Kettering has a great site. I'll try and put the links in the chat window. I gotta put that Antonarakis link in for Graham. And Memorial Sloan Kettering has a great site that you can look up vitamins and supplements, and it tells you, it gives you a real honest breakdown. Is there any real research on it or not? It's sort of my go-to place to check these out. But the answer is no. And we also tell people, don't take any supplements without first checking with your doctor.
Because there was he interviews people, including there was a professor there in the UK. He's from the UK originally, and they produced these pyrotechnic, I'm not sure, we'll say, to do with broccoli and all this kind of stuff that keeps your PSA down. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, and yes, and there's a great doctor at UCSD who's doing that, who we do know, and we like, Mike, I just forget his last name for the second, and he's doing some stuff with broccoli right now. But what you have to do is you also have to check that, you know, he doesn't have an interest in whatever supplement he's doing, because a lot of the times the guys that are touting this are also the guys that have a financial interest in it.
Yeah.
I'll send you the stuff.
Or you can just eat broccoli raw, like I eat at least a handful each day. It felt a little weird in the beginning, but then you get used to it.
Yeah. Listen, go on our website and type look for Mike Liss, Liss, and look at the presentation that he did for us. I need you guys to like talk between yourself. Oh, Dino had a question for me, and then I want you to talk for yourself so I can get some of these stuff into the. Dino, what was your question?
No, I just wanted to kind of bring up the PCPP guys.
Yeah.
Because I just signed up for it, and I'm gonna start Monday. Is more on like psychological support and, you know, whole mindfulness and getting through this, you know, mentally. And it's like a 6-month program, so I'm starting Monday. I'll see what's going on. But they help you with, you know, with exercise. They drop off daily emails with like a 5-minute video to give you, hey, some tips on eating and exercising, and they give you exercises and so on. I mean, that's what I've read, but I'm starting on Monday, so I dropped the link in the chat. If you guys are interested to look it up and maybe sign up for it. But
let me give you the background on this one, because this is a good one. So I'm sitting next to Bill Franklin in the plenary a couple of Thursdays ago, and this is like the biggest hall you've ever seen. There's like 3,000 people can sit in this hall, and they're all sitting behind desks, and they're all up way, you can't even see their faces, way up on a dais at the front. And then there's all these screens behind them, and then about halfway back there's another big screen, and I'm sitting in front of the screen halfway back. And this woman starts talking, and I'm thinking to myself, ooh, this sounds interesting. And she's on Stacey Loeb's panel. Now, we love Stacey Loeb. She's on our advisory board. She's a urologist at NYU University. And she's very much into supplements and the stuff we were just talking about, and quality of life. And I've known her a long time. She's great. And this woman's talking about survivorship. Now, we've got a poster that we're exhibiting downstairs. And the numbers that she's talking about are like the numbers that we're getting just from our pishy little group, you know? And they got this fancy program. So I said, Bill, maybe I should go up to the plenary mic and give us a plug in there, because this is like the same thing. And he says, yeah, go on. It's not the first time I've done it, so I'm willing to go up. So I go up to the mic, and I said, well, the first thing is, I said, full disclosure, Dr. Stacey's on our advisory board. And I said, secondly, Dr. Illier, we are running we are getting survivorship results like you, and we've got a poster, and I gave the poster a plug, and then I went into some other things. And as I say that, I see like Stacey turns around and she's winking at Illier. So who is Romanian? And I figured she was Romanian from Gabriela Illier, and I figured she was Romanian, etc., etc. And she's in Halifax, Newfoundland in Canada. And so I come back, and then somebody comes running, is following me, and they sit at the end of the row, and Bill says to me, he says, isn't that your buddy from Duke? I said, no, I don't know who that is. It turned out it was our husband. And her husband's a radiation oncologist. The two of them have set up this program for multiple cancers, but mostly for prostate, but they're now branching into other cancers. It's a 6-month program, and they send you out a video. They send you out an email every morning, and there's a 5-minute video in that you can watch. You don't have to watch. And it can be about stress reduction. It can be about exercise, and you follow them. It can be about cooking, and they show you how to cook stuff, and this, that, and the other. And they have gotten really good results. They published in the journal, the EAU journal, the European Association of Urologists, back in 24, I think. And they're trying to promote the program. So he followed me back because he wants to work with us. And we are doing a program on April 1st. He wants to pull in from us initially men who are on early active surveillance with very low risk disease, because they're trying to put together a consort to see if that can make a difference in extending active surveillance. Now, he's also looking for people like you guys, and he also has sites in Europe, as Dino now knows. And so we're not making a big deal of it for our more advanced guys just yet, because PCPP asked us to go after active surveillance guys first. But you can follow and you can sign up, tell them you're from AnCan. Probably within the next 3 months or 4 months, we'll do a second one. And we'll also going to record the first one, so we'll put it out. But yeah, we think it's a great program, you know, and we endorse it. So that's the story behind it. That's no good. I did all the talking again. I'm still trying to get all these links up here.
We could summarize and say AnCan's better than broccoli, or
yeah, that's right. AnCan said eat broccoli. That's it. Where's my bipolar thing?
I don't know. Can you put broccoli in a smoothie? There's a question.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Can.
You can put it. Yeah,
I've been putting spinach, but I'll try the broccoli. Yeah.
Oh. So tell us how it is. You're our first, Dino, you're our first guy. Are you doing it out of the German location?
no, they don't have a German location. I'm looking at their site right now. So they have their original from Canada. They also have a New Zealand, and they have South Africa. And supposedly this year they're opening one in Romania, or they're working with the guys in Romania to open up, since Dr. Ilie is Romanian. But I think I was reading on their website, and I think they're also talking about Belgium, and there was another one in Europe. I don't remember.
Yeah, I was thinking Belgium. I thought Belgium hasn't opened.
But let me see, testimonial, global initiatives. But yeah, I'm starting Monday, or Sunday. Sorry, Sundays is their beginning of the week. So they do. Looks like they do have a drop in here, which looks like Belgium or something. But
yeah,
yeah. So there you go. They have site expansions since 2025: Belgium, Netherlands, South Africa, Romania, and additional sites are in Wales, Ireland, Australia, and US. So there you go. We hit everybody here in the room.
What's the name of the site?
I dropped the link in the chat.
It's in the chat.
It's pcpep.org. So yeah, I mean, Sunday I'll have my first email drop. But I did have they contact me right away. I wrote them an email, say, yeah, I'm interested. Here's my situation. And they wrote back to me the very next day via email. And they asked me when can I set up a Zoom call. And this research assistant called me yesterday, and I spent with her maybe like 20 minutes, like a kind of like a questionnaire thing. You know, she told me about the program, and then she asked me some questions, some standardized checklist.
Right.
And then she said, yep, good, we'll sign you up. And they send me some emails. And there's a little bit of reading. You have to read through this little booklet and kind of figure out what's going on, and they give you some steps. and they're also using some app to, I guess you put your finger in front of the camera and they measure your heartbeat, and it helps you with your mindfulness and breathing and the whole thing. But the research assistant just told me to, like, hey, just try it out. Don't sign up for the free trial. We'll give it to you as part of the program. Once it officially starts, you officially start the program. So, but yeah, they have all sorts of little videos on their website, and then also this app that they are using. So they have the options of using the app, but they also have the option, I think, for the guys in US and Canada. I think they send this little sensor thing, Bluetooth sensor, that you kind of clip to your ear. Same thing, it measures your blood, your heart rate and your blood flow and something like that. But yeah, it sounds innocent. I mean, it is not something that's very aggressive and very intensive, and it requires a lot of resources.
It is. I hope you told him you found them through AnCan.
Oh yeah, of course. That was the first thing I told them. They actually asked me. That was one of the first question that they asked me when I did the interview.
Okay. I just put the Antennarakis paper, the one that Denmead and Antennarakis wrote a couple of years ago on BAT, Graham. I just put that link in there, and let me give you guys the link to Dr. Liss. What he's done is something really interesting. He's looking at gut microbiomes and trying to figure out whether your gut microbiomes impact your disease progression in prostate cancer. And if you don't have the right balance, he's suggesting how you can improve that balance. He's a urological oncologist, so he's a prostate cancer surgeon working out of UCSD. He's a good guy. He's a really good guy. And let me put that link. He also is doing something just with the active surveillance fellows. So he here it is. I got it. Okay, I'm gonna put this link in here for you. It was April. It was a year ago that he did this for us. So this is the listing. I mean, it's appropriate for all of us, but for his trial, he was just looking for AS guys. So I just put lists. And now, for those of you who don't know, there are 3 little dots at the top next to the push pin with the red, and you can click those 3 vertical dots and you can download the chat there. Okay.
You have to click on the chat first and then the...
Right. Super. So there you go. So, and it's 2:10. So we've been going 2 hours and there were only 6 of us. Imagine if there were 10 of us, we'd be here all night.
Yeah.
But it's been great. Dinu, lots of luck next week. Keep me posted and definitely think about hold on a second, Neil. Definitely think about sending your pathology to Epstein. You got that information, or I'll send it to you again. But definitely think about sending your pathology to.
They said they will take about maybe 4 weeks to get the results for that.
Yeah, when you got it. And you know what? You're probably worth your while calling him. You can probably call him on WhatsApp. I'm sure he's on WhatsApp, but probably worth your while calling him and asking and speaking to him first and telling him, but tell him you're an AnCan guy, and so Neil, what can I do for you?
I suppose we'll wait and see what happens now. That's about it from the HBOT.
Oh yeah, from the HBOT, yeah, and I'll connect you as soon as I'm off. I'll connect you to Dr. Pierre. I'll just write a quick email and tell him you're starting and that you'd like to ask him some questions.
Thank you. That's great. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Graham has to make some phone calls.
I've got I've just written down a load of things. So, yeah, but yeah, I need to maybe I don't know if I'm complacent or it's really difficult. It's because it is working. It's working what I'm on. You know, I've been looking.
Yeah, but see, it
yeah,
is
I know,
working, but it isn't working. I would love, look, our Tuesday meeting, the big meeting, is the one on the next one coming up will be the 24th. So that starts at 11 p.m. your time, right?
Okay.
Take a nap and then join us. All right.
Okay.
Take a nap and join us. Now, let me just warn you, there can be anywhere from 45 to 60 guys in there.
Okay. Wow.
All right. But we'll take you'll be a newbie. You'll get priority. I want you to hear what the other guys are saying who have been where you are.
Okay.
Because I can tell you, but I haven't done it. But there's going to be 10, 15, 20 guys on there who have been where you are. And they've made decisions to make changes in their treatment, even though they thought it was working. And I want you to hear it from them, not just from me.
Okay. I'll try and make that. I'll check my calendar, but yeah.
Check your calendar. It's in this same room, and it'll start at 11 p.m. UK.
I do get the reminders come through for it, so yeah.
Good. Okay. All
Yeah,
right. Tino's exempt. Well, he's not really, because he's going to be lying in bed in that bloody hospital. He's going to be bored out of his mind, and so we made
I was thinking about calling into one of the meetings, but I'll have to see how I feel.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Graham, too, if you speak to, you're not obliged to do what a doctor says, but it's good just to have the options and to speak to them and not have regrets after.
No, that's what's at the back of my mind from our last meeting. Will there be regrets? If you mentioned, it was only mentioned briefly about coming off or doing a monotherapy, monotherapy, and you know, yeah, I mean, it's life and death. It's serious. So yeah, I can't. You know, I've been lucky. I do supplement quite a lot. What I was going to say was I take a supplement called Prostate, actually, that originates from France. It's quite expensive, but it's called Brock in the USA. But that, you know, if you don't eat broccoli, then maybe for Neil, for Jeff, Prostate, it's it's the best quality by a long way broccoli supplement, and I also do, you know, talking about gut bio, your gut. Again, I mean, you guys in Germany are quite lucky because you probably eat sauerkraut and stuff, but I don't. And yeah, so I take and this is something like anecdotal almost, but taking a gut bio, I think mine's called Your Gut. But yeah, just taking something that's a probiotic or something for your gut, you know, if you know, I don't have any side effects from either of those. So yeah, I you know, a friend of a friend, you know, is a big believer that everything comes from your gut biology, you know, not prostate cancer, everything, you know, it's a really important medical thing. So I mean, I take something called Your Gut, but it's I would say look at the probiotics that are out there to give yourself the best gut health as well. But I don't know. I'm yeah. I throw a few things into the mix, but they're two of the main ones anyway.
Well, the biggest thing that you can throw into the mix right now is sitting down with a genitourinary medical oncologist.
Yeah,
that's what you need to do, man. I'm telling you, Doc.
I'm going to leave myself a big note. Yeah, I'm actually seeing my local group tomorrow, and the guy who runs it does know Nick James, so I will see I'll see how well. I will find out if he actually does know him really well now. So.
Yeah. If not, I may have some. I've got to think about how I can get to him. I can probably even get to him through LinkedIn, and just
don't worry. I've got hopefully the guy I'm seeing tomorrow. He's
well, let me know. Let me know
Yeah.
if not. All right,
Yeah.
and we'll see what we can do.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Heather Payne, we do know. Heather Payne knows us now because we've sent people to her.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, I've got her written down as well now. So that's
I kind of like Nick James better because I think because he's right there with De Bono, and De Bono's doing some crazy stuff, which looks really good.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, guys. Gotta go. Lovely to see ya.
Thank you.
Thanks,
And
Rick.
Dino, all the very best.
Thank you. Thanks.
Bye. We'll get this
Stay
posted
positive.
as soon as we can, Dino. Promise. Okay.
Yes.
Bye.
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 Bye.